How many of you deal with imposter syndrome?
Everything that you want in life lives on the other side of fear.
And you are comfortable, but can you do more?
The simplest thing and also the most complexing thing to do to change who you are.
All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Grab some pen and paper, get ready to take notes. I'm going to move through this pretty quickly. And as always, my co-coaches on the call here have permission to jump in here and add to the conversation. 10X is innovative and nonlinear. Psychological flexibility is the ability to respond to obstacles successfully and in a way that is cognizant with personal standards. So we've heard standards a few times this morning already, and it's as simple as, what are your non-negotiable standards? What are you holding yourself accountable to today? If you're a real estate agent, everybody here is a real estate agent, your number one job is lead generation. Nothing else happens until lead generation is done. Everything else is a distraction. Everyone else is a distraction. My standards say I'm going to have 10 conversations and book 2 appointments every single day, whichever comes last. And I'm going to hold myself accountable to that standard. It's the same thing I've been doing for 23 years. And because I hold myself accountable to that standards, over time, I hit my goals. Success shows up. It's just that simple. Psychological flexibility is moving towards chosen goals, even when it's emotionally difficult.
Can I ask you a quick question about what you just said? Okay, because you said about how you hold yourself accountable to your standards, which is amazing. Brings me right back, of course, to yesterday when I said, who do we need to become? So who did you end up becoming? Who was that person who had become that person in order to get that accomplished?
It goes back to your why. And for me, my why has always been supporting my family, and I will not let them down. They are counting on me to take care of them, to provide them with a home, to provide them with clothes, to provide them with food. And at the end of the day, whether or not we have a home to live in, something as simple as that is dependent on me hitting those standards, Birgit.
Beautiful.
Psychological flexibility is moving towards chosen goals, even when it's emotionally difficult. So here's something I can tell you. It's almost always emotionally difficult. It's almost always hard. The internal noise is telling you this doesn't work. It works for John, but it doesn't work for you. It'll work in Florida, but it doesn't work in Texas, or whatever nonsense is going on. You're dealing with difficult stuff, or you're going through the worst time of your life. I mean, we all know that we're either in adversity, heading towards adversity, or coming out of adversity. So maybe as you're sitting at your desk today and you're making calls, you're in adversity. I've been there. I totally get it. And the last thing you want to do, Matthew, is pick up the phone and make the next call. But you have to. You acknowledge and accept your emotions, but they do not control you. You acknowledge your emotions, but they do not control you.
Only if you choose to.
The 100%. Let's go back to everything is a choice. You choose to fail. You choose to succeed. You choose to keep going. You choose to quit. You choose to settle for mediocrity, or you choose to hold yourself accountable to great. You view yourself as a context rather than viewing yourself as a content. You do not identify with your thoughts and emotions. Okay, that's a big one. Write it down. You do not identify with your thoughts and emotions. You are not your thoughts and emotions. And as you change, the content and the context changes as well. Expanding yourself as a context involves a great deal of emotional development. How important is emotional development to you? How important is emotional intelligence to you? Is it something that you actually even pay attention to? To me, it's really important. Committing
quick interruption before you go on. So at this point, if you ever say I can't, now you've tied to your identity that you're currently holding on to, but that identity will not get you to that lifestyle that you want, because that's why you're currently there. So I can't is a preconceived notion that you are a construct of something of what, right? It's not like a bag of potatoes or something like that. It's something that you can change really at any given moment. The simplest thing and also the most complexing thing to do to change who you are.
Good stuff, Birgit. Going 10X means you are living based on the most intrinsic and exciting. Boy, taking notes, capitalize exciting, underline it, underline it, exciting future you can imagine. I wonder when you guys are thinking about your future, does it excite you? Are you excited about the future that you are creating? You know, Zig Ziglar talks about wandering generalities versus being a meaningful specific. And a wandering generality is somebody who is simply a ship in the ocean without a rudder, who's just being blown based on the current and on the wind. In other words, that exciting future, they're not excited about the future because they believe they don't have any control of the future. But when you are a meaningful specific, you know where you're going. And again, it's so interesting how all these things combine with one another. It's so interesting because Andy Andrews talks about being on a journey with a destination that is assured, which to me means you've already arrived. You've already arrived at that destination. Does it excite you?
So, John, this may be, and I'll ask you if you would do it, because I think this conversation has to do with point bar, and everything that you want in life lives on the other side of fear, right? And so, when you're taking actions or not taking actions, it has to do with fear. And a lot of you will think I'm talking to the agents in the room who are not picking up the phone. I'm also talking to the agents in the room who are picking up the phone, and to myself. So I had that thought this morning. Going to Anna Maria Island this weekend, taking the boat out there, going to have a trip. Said, you know what? Maybe not make the calls today because I'm making calls. I'm going to get an appointment. If I get an appointment, maybe I can't keep it. But you know what? I can always schedule for that appointment for when I get back. So those of you who are, it's a different fear. It's fear of success. Those of you who are making the calls, be careful of your fear of success as well.
Yeah, radical self-ownership, right? So a lot of that is radical self-ownership and how that is helping you. You know, we always feel like we're not behind the wheel or behind the rudder because, that life is happening to us, but we get to choose, right? And we get to come back and grab a hold of that. And every time we say we can't, we're frustrated, we're angry, we're, pouting, we're upset, who knows, all the different things, we're victims, then we are not in control of our ship. And we all play a part in what happens to our ship.
Great stuff. All right. So that 10X future becomes your filter for everything you do. And most of your current life can't make it through that 10X filter. A 10X filter simply means that everything that comes up in my day, whether it's an opportunity to have a conversation with somebody or an opportunity to do whatever is in front of me, it goes in that 10X filter. And the 10X filter simply means, is this going to move me closer to my 10X goal? Now, if the answer is no, then I say no to whatever it is. And you're going to say no to a lot of things. That's the whole idea behind 10X is easier than 2X, because when you go 10X, you have no other choice but to remove everything that doesn't make it through that 10X filter, which means you're doing a whole lot less. Going for incremental progress, on the other hand, is a 2X mindset. You are maintaining or continuing what you are already doing. You are letting the past dictate what you do and how you do it. Do more of the same, just faster and harder. 2X is exhausting and defeating. 10X isn't about more, it's about less. Going 10X is the simplification. Words matter. That word is important. 10X is the simplification of your focus down to the core essentials. Then remove everything else. By changing your vision and identity, everything else you're doing changes as well. You take your internal and emotional evolution and externalize that in the form of refined standards and results. Going 10X means your attention is directly on far less, but it's insanely, like that word too, underline it. It is insanely more potent and impactful because it's focused rather than spread thin.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in and go with the rule of interruption. The life we focus on, right? What are you doing right now? I see so many of you taking such copious notes and really listening to, are you focusing on anything else that's going on in your house right now? Probably not, right? It's sort of like background noise. So that is how when we embody that, when we see how that's done, it's like, okay, we're focusing exactly on that. And everything else is, you wouldn't want to miss a heartbeat of this. And that is exactly what we're talking about. And now you have laser focus on the experience that you currently want to have, which is within this group. So that's what that is talking about.
So as you're listening to this, I'm going to go ahead and start putting up your hands, guys, if you have questions, thoughts, ahas that you want to share, because we're going to wrap this up here. As you're listening to this morning, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? How many of you deal with imposter syndrome? When you visualize this 10x future, does your thermostat tell you anything is possible? Everything is possible. Or does your thermostat say you have a ceiling of achievement, that's all you're ever going to do? It's pretty good. So you've convinced yourself to settle for good, and good is good. Think about the 5 levels of survive to thrive. You start out in survival, you go to stability. From stability, you go to success. And from success, you go to significance and finally legacy. For those of you who have achieved success, you're closing a lot of sales, you're making good money, you're living a good life, and you are comfortable. But can you do more? Now, whether or not you choose to go for great versus settling for whatever level of success you've hit is going to have a lot to do with how you think, how you identify yourself. Matt Kemps, I saw your hand up, so I'm going to come back to you, but we're going to go to Lindsay Powell first. Talk to me, Lindsay.
Oh, goodness. Good morning. Okay. So what do you do if you feel like your why is in competition of this 10X? What I mean is this is my whole reason of wanting to break into real estate and do this stuff is because I want to control a calendar that allows me to be present with my children. Mm-hmm. And I have this perception, because it's always preached, that it's sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. The goal comes before all things. A little bit, the themes that you're talking about with focus. So I hear simplify, but for me, my internal dialogue is that there is a glass ceiling, because at that point, the sacrifice that takes place is my why, which is time, mm-hmm. which is going to be saying no to the stuff of that is my why, because I'm already stripped down to that. Yep. It's my family, my career. So how do you reframe when your why feels in competition of the next level?
Well, first of all, balance is a myth.
Very true.
Okay. We are going to be out of balance. If you look at a line, you say, okay, this side is work and this side is family. All right. You're going to be out of balance on the work side for a while. Lindsay, as you build this real estate business, it's going to take more time in your career to build the real estate career that you want to have, so that you can come back to having the freedom to spend time with your family. So the why is still the why. It's just going to take you a little bit of time to get to the place where you have that freedom to choose, I'm not going to work this weekend. Or I'm taking a week off with my family and I can afford to do it because I've built this successful business. And going back to balance is a myth. We don't balance our lives. We counterbalance our lives. So what you're going to do, Lindsay, is you're going to live out of balance for a little while on one side of that line, and you're going to counterbalance to the other side.
Balance in real estate is a cycle, I would say. And for you, Lindsay, I would just add that take a look at what does one side of you require. Does the side that wants to build a 10X, what does that require? What's all required of that? What does the other side require? And are you willing to give up perhaps on one side, another, going back to John's point, to be able to move to one side first over the other side? Otherwise, you are unclear, and that what keeps you stuck. Right? So we need to get unstuck and get some clarity so you can choose how you want to move forward. Now you're back in control.
Good nuggets to chew on. We didn't solve my problem, but good nuggets to chew on and to start my internal conversation myself. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, Lindsay, I'll add, and guys, I'm just going to keep talking to Lindsay until you put your hands up. So I'm surprised we don't have more hands up, but okay. Lindsay, if you follow Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, you're either an employee or you are self-employed, or you own a business, or you're an investor. And part of the path to get where you want to be is you're going into that second quadrant, which is self-employed. Okay. You're an independent contractor, which is all real estate agents. The path to get where you want to go is to build a business that you own that provides financial freedom so that you have that time with your family.
Yeah. I think that the piece, I've learned to live by a calendar. I used to be very flighty and fighty and spontaneous. And now I'm very focused and live by a calendar, all the good fundamentals. Now it's just trying to figure out, okay, what is the rate if I know XYZ is going to get me to this level, but then you have this other quadrant of line of like, at what rate do I want to achieve that level? And then that is your output. Okay. All the numbers and the data, I can geek out on that. I think I need to find the resolve of one, what does that level look like? And then how much time and what kind of sacrifice am I willing to make to get there? And how quick do I want to get there? Because,
and that's it. You're giving yourself like all the bits and pieces, right? Your brain is already looking for clarity. Okay, I need to do this and this and this in order to give myself some clarity to help me figure it out.
Okay, we're going to move on to Cole. Lindsay, before I move on to Cole, schedule a one-on-one coaching appointment with me, and I'll work with you through this. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cole Harvey, let's go.
Lindsay, I feel exactly what you're saying too, because that's my why, is my family. Like, it's the entire reason. Spending time with them, being there to take my son to school, being there to pick him up from school, like that's huge for me. But like, I heard something recently, and I think it kind of applies, and this is where my brain went, is like, since the beginning of time, like the warrior, the provider for the family. It sounds like you're a warrior. A lot of us in here, whether it's a warrior, an explorer, they were going off on adventures, right? Since the beginning of time, you're leaving the family, you're saying goodbye, and you're going for months on a voyage, coming back with that big thing, or the family doesn't eat, right? And they said that the family understands that. Like your kids and the kids, they understand. Whenever you have to go and you set that expectation, they understand. So when you're away, you're going to fight, you're going to get this. And this is the kind of thing I have to put in my brain. I'm on appointments. If I can't go pick my son up, I'm out there, I'm in the battlefield, I'm out exploring the seas, and then I'm going to come home, and he knows that. So I'm trying to kind of figure out a way to put that process, what you said. And I love the way that John and Birgit, you guys answered that. It's a lot to chew on, but I think that the perspective of it is a huge thing.
Yeah. I'll add one more thing. Put your kids in your calendar. Set aside a day and a time that is just for them, and show them, hey guys, you're in my calendar. Matter of fact, you're the first thing that goes in my calendar every week. Talk to me, Matt Kemps.
I'm actually surprised when no one said this yet, but non-negotiables is the number one thing for me. So, Lindsay, to give you perspective, I wanted to be a dad and a better husband, which is why I stepped away from playing golf professionally, traveling around the entire world. I'm gone for weeks and months at a time. So I wanted to be back with family and make sure I'm there for my wife and be a provider, which is how I got into real estate. I ran around like with a chicken head cut off for a while until I met John. And then once John and I kind of established my non-negotiables and I was able to plan around and actually time block appropriately, then I was able to say, all right, my why is no longer getting in the way of what I need to do to provide for my family, because I'm hitting my non-negotiables every single day. I'm prospecting as I need to. I'm setting the amount of appointments I need to, so that when my prospecting time is in the time that I allocate for, and then my appointments are in the time that I allocated for, I'm still able to spend the time I need to with my family. And once you come take over your business that way, life gets really, really good.
So good. Really, really good stuff. Thank you, Matt Kemps. Alrighty, I have 9:33, which means we are officially 3 minutes over. Thank you to everyone that hung in there. We only lost a handful, so that's awesome. This will be on my YouTube channel, so if you guys want to watch the video, please go visit my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today. I hope you found it valuable. Invite your friends. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Make it a great day.
If you need stronger systems and better structure, scan the QR code or send a message to start working with Coach John.